Hello, friends. I'm Daniel Green, and you're listening to a Monday edition of the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Tyler Watts to look at Week 9 of the NBA schedule and to help you set your lineups. Tyler, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing very well. I think most people are probably wondering where Mark is, right? Mark Roberts, who normally hosts the show, but today, he's a big Homeland guy, so he's watching the season finale. So he's running late. I'm not sure if he's even going to make the show today. So Tyler, you think me and you we can handle it?
I think we'll be all right, at least until Mark gets here.
Right. So, I'm DMing, I'm tweeting, I'm texting Mark, and he doesn't look at his phone during Homeland. So we'll see if he can join the show. So we have a lot to discuss though today. Again, to help you get your lineups set for Week 9. Let's kick it off, man. Let's go right into some news. Lots of news, and especially news that just broke in, right before we start taping the show. The first thing is Jason Kidd, one of the worst coaches for fantasy, DFS, whatever you're playing, is now out indefinitely. It's weird when you talk about a coach being out indefinitely. And now we have two with Steve Kerr out too. But Jason Kidd is out with a right hip surgery. And now Joe Prenti, one of their assistants, is going to be the coach. Now it looks like Kidd's going to be out at least all of January, but we're not sure exactly how long he's going to be out. But do you think in any way this is going to impact minutes? Because obviously their rotation is always in flux, and Kidd is just a monster. So what do you think of that, man?
Oh, I'm hoping that this allows them just to play the guys who we really want to see for fantasy, and hopefully it gets John Henson some minutes too, since Kidd seems to hate John Henson.
Dear God, I played Henson in DFS. I don't know if it's two games ago or his last game. The game where I swear to God, I love Henson, but he also fouls way too much. He just can't stop fouling. And that was a game Plumlee ended up playing really well. I think it was against it was actually against Golden State when they gave Golden State a really good game at Golden State. And Plumlee played his butt off and really well. But Henson, he had 2 fouls in 2 minutes.
I feel like he tries to block every shot under the sun.
He does.
That's why he fouls.
He does. It's so frustrating too, because again, I think me and Mark talked about this on one of our last shows, is that he's a fantasy point per minute monster. So if he would just get some consistent minutes, it would be helpful. I think today he played a little over 20 and did well. If he gets 20 to 22 minutes, I think that's enough to basically own him in the standard league, I think.
So do I. Just for the blocks alone, he got 4 blocks today in 22 minutes. I feel like this is something you got to watch for when Kidd is out. If this guy's getting those consistent 20 minutes every game, I'd pick him up. Yeah,
so the main thing I'm going to do with this is, I'm not going to make any sudden moves right now, but I'm going to watch to see how the new rotation is under this Joe Prenti guy, for the first couple games, and hopefully he'll settle on a nice consistent rotation. The interesting thing about Milwaukee is that Kidd actually was settling on a somewhat consistent rotation before Monroe and the Bucks went to a strip club allegedly and got into some funny business, and Monroe tweaked his knee. Allegedly or maybe not on a stripper pole. I'm not sure. I wasn't there. Again, we'll see. Hopefully, again, if it'd be awesome if he could settle on a consistent rotation and give the starters 30 minutes, and including MCW, who's been playing great. And it would also be interesting to see if Giannis will continue to come off the bench, which brings us to something else that happened today. Giannis actually sat out today with left knee tendonitis. So are you worried in any way about Giannis at this point?
I feel like this was probably just a game of rest, and they have a short week this week coming up, so I feel like maybe they're just trying to get him some rest, and he's going to be back. But it's definitely a situation worth monitoring.
Yeah, and we'll actually get into this in a little bit. So Milwaukee is one of the few teams who only plays 2 games this week. So Giannis might not be a player you want to roll out this week. Next up, a guy we got to talk about. He made his big return today. Kyrie Irving returned against Philly, so didn't really return against an actual NBA team, but he played 17 minutes. All the it's hard to even look at the box score because all the Cleveland starters, including LeBron, played such limited minutes. But Kyrie looked good. Played 17 minutes. He was 5 for 12 from the floor, 2 for 2 from 3-point range, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 2 steals. So what are your thoughts on the return of Kyrie? Are you ready to kind of unleash him? In all your leagues?
I'm sad because Mark isn't here because Mark is a huge Kyrie Irving fan. Mark owns Kyrie Irving in like every league this year. And I feel like Kyrie is going to be a monster. Like he's going to take a little bit of time here to ramp up, probably a couple weeks before he starts getting the big minutes. But I feel like once he starts getting the big minutes, he's going to put up some great fantasy stats.
Yeah, and I'm totally with you. And I think, I mean, it's tough to he may maybe a week for like a week or so they give him 24 to 28 minutes, but pretty soon he's going to be ramped up. You would think above 30 minutes, and even if he's playing 24 minutes, he's ready to be unleashed. In every if you own him in any league, and I'm with you, he's going to be just a dominant player. In the near future. So, but the bigger thing that I'm thinking about though with Kyrie returning is obviously it impacts other guys for Cleveland, right? I mean, Kevin Love. I mean, his usage rate is now going to go down. His production is probably going to go down. So, I know Love. He's been decent this year, but I mean, he had a really good stretch. The last week or so, he hasn't been that great. But I mean, I'd be a little worried if I'm a Kevin Love owner, and then the other guy, I actually owned in one league was Dellavedova, who's actually putting up decent production. I mean, I think his days are probably over now, and you got to drop him. And even like guys like J.R. Smith, the shots just aren't going to be there. I mean, Kyrie is his usage rate is really high. I mean, what are your thoughts on the other guys from Cleveland? What to do with any of those guys?
I feel like if you play in a deep enough league where the backup point guard for Cleveland matters, I mean, that's worth watching between him and Mo Williams. I think Mo Williams is probably going to get the minutes, and Dellavedova is probably not going to get very many minutes, so he's probably worth looking to find someone else. Mark and I actually debated on Friday's podcast about Kevin Love, so if you want to hear our thoughts on Kevin Love, you can check out that podcast. And I feel like a lot of the other guys, like the minutes are just going to drop a little bit, and also the shot attempts are going to drop. I think JR is probably going to go back to what he was last year when he played alongside Kyrie and Kevin Love and LeBron. So, I mean, I feel like if you can sell high on some of these guys, now would be the time to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I would do if I'm a Kevin Love owner is I would pray. Well, yeah, he will. I mean, he's still a decent player. I mean, he's going to have a stretch here where he has like a week or so where he puts up big numbers. I wait for him to have that stretch and then try to do everything to trade him at that point. When you can kind of sell high, because I just don't see Kevin Love going to be returning. I'm not even sure where he would have been drafted, but again, he's the guy that concerns me the most, just because Kyrie, he's such a it's gonna be him and LeBron every time down the court. They basically take turns. It's interesting. It's last year a lot of times if you watch Cleveland play, it will be similar to like LeBron's first and second year in Miami, when basically LeBron would, Miami would have the ball, LeBron would shoot the first time, then D Wade would shoot it. They basically would just rotate. And that's kind of how their offense was last year. It was basically just Kyrie would shoot it one time, and then LeBron would shoot it one time. And Kevin Love would just sit in the corner kind of crying. So, I mean, again, I'm a little worried about Kevin Love. So that's the main guy I'm trying to keep my eye on. Next up, a guy that I love, because I was in New York when Linsanity started, and that's Jeremy Lin. He's had 2 straight monster games. The first one I wasn't too excited about, even though he put up like 40 points, in an overtime win for Charlotte, because Nick Batum was out. But he put up another monster game when Nick Batum, was playing, and Lin came off the bench. But Lin played the most minutes on Charlotte that night, played 34 minutes, and looked fantastic. What are you doing with? Because he's available in a lot of leagues. Would you pick up Jeremy Lin?
So for Mark's rankings this week, Jeremy Lin is ranked 137th, and he is only owned in 36% of leagues. Now Charlotte only plays 3 games this week, but I think Lin is a guy you got to go get. I think he's playing a little bit more with Kemba Walker, and I think they're kind of making Kemba Walker a little bit more of a shooting guard. Mark and I kind of talked about this on Friday too, about how Kemba Walker is like, he's kind of not having the ball in his hands as much, and they're letting Lin and Batum kind of take over the offense. I think that Lin is a guy worth picking up just to see if this production, kind of stays steady here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because also we have someone lurking, and that's the gravy juice of Allen Jefferson, who's going to come back in about 4 to 5 games. So I think that will hurt Lin's value a little bit, and then his minutes might go down. But I'm with you. I mean, the point guard of Charlotte is really Nicholas Batum, and it's not Kemba. So Lin could take a little pressure off Batum, can handle the ball, can kind of be more of a distributor, and again, like you said, he can play him with Kemba. And again, if I have a team trying to think right now. I'm trying to look at a couple of my teams. 'Cause I know one of them I picked up Jalen. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on your roster, but if I have a player that I'm on that, I'm not sure if I want to keep or not, I would gladly pick up Lynn. I mean, I'd like to see it, I guess, in one or two more games. Again, it's only been until 2 games here where he's went off, but again, like we've seen Lynn in the past go nuts, so I'm not opposed to it. I would like to see maybe 1 or 2 more games, I guess.
I feel like now's your shot though. Like if you want him, you're gonna have to pick him up now and just wait and see. Because like if not, someone else is probably gonna pick him up. Especially unless you're waiting on the wire after the next game. Like if he has another good game, I feel like people are gonna swoop on him.
Yeah, that may be right. So again, pick up Lynn. I guess we're in agreement. All right, you convinced me. Pick up Jay Lynn if he's available. And especially he does a lot of things, man. He shoots. He'll give you points. He'll give you three pointers. He'll give you assists. He'll give you steals actually a little bit too. So I like Jay Lynn. Next guy we talk about. Sadly, it may be coming to an end for the fantasy life of Zach Randolph. Last game against Memphis, they switched up their rotation just because they've been a disaster this year, and the Zach Randolph Marc Gasol combination just really hasn't been working for them. So they basically benched Zebo. They inserted the superstar Matt Barnes, and now Zebo. I mean, last game again against Indiana, 14.5 minutes, 6 points, only 4 shots, 2 rebounds. Is it time to drop Zebo?
I think it is. I think it's time to drop Zebo. Zebo has always pretty much just been a points and rebounds guy. So if he's not getting the minutes, he's not going to get the points and he's not going to get the rebounds. And so I feel like, especially if it's a standard league, I think you got to pick up Zebo. And I mean, maybe you're even looking at Matt Barnes to pick up if he's available.
Are you clinging to hope that Zebo gets traded though, and then he has some value again?
I feel like that's a hard thing to wait for because, I mean, like, you might have to wait till February before he gets traded. Yep. So you're holding him for, what, like almost 2 months now with little to no production. So, like, I mean, if you're in a roto league or, like, you can stash him on your bench and, like, it's not a spot where you really would ever play the guy, I could see maybe holding him. But, like, in a standard type league with only 3 bench spots where you can rotate guys in, I think you got to cut him.
I'm with you. It's sad, but I think this is the fantasy life of Zebo may be coming to. Actually, no, not maybe. I think it has come to an end. So, like, I actually had him in one league. I picked him up in waiver. Someone else already dropped him, so I picked him up, and then I already dropped him today. So, I mean, I think it's just about over for Zebo. But that leads into our next guy we must discuss, Matt Barnes. I know Mark Roberts, who's watching Homeland right now, probably. And by the way, I love Homeland, so I'm kind of mad that I don't get to watch Homeland. I want to watch Homeland, don't you? We could have a nice Homeland little party.
I do. So, Mark should have invited us to his house for Homeland. I don't know what he's thinking right now.
What's Carrie doing right now? I mean, it's very man, I can't wait to watch. I'm DVRing it. So, Mark, if you jump on the show, do not ruin it for us.
Oh, he's gonna give spoilers galore. You're gonna be so
that'd be such a disaster. All right, so Matt Barnes. Again, Mark is not a big fan of this guy. And again, Matt Barnes started for the Clippers last year, didn't put up great numbers, but he's just been crushing. And this has been about 2 weeks straight now where he's looked fantastic. Last game, 15 points, 10 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 3 3-pointers, 6 for 14 from the floor. I'm about ready to say it. Go at him. Pounce on Matt Barnes. Go pick him up. I think he's still available in a lot of leagues. It's time to make the move, I think. What do you think? Are you with me on Matt Barnes?
Oh, I'm definitely picking up Matt Barnes, even if it's just to ride out this hot streak. I mean, he's been playing so well. The steals have been crazy. I mean, he's been playing out of his mind. I'm definitely adding Matt Barnes just because he's getting such big minutes, and I think that he's gonna give you something.
And like that's the thing that Matt Barnes always known for steals, right? I mean, he's really not a scorer. So I mean, the steals are back. I mean, again, like last year was frustrating because the steals really weren't there last year. Again, he basically hated Doc Rivers. So they're basically back now. I'm all in on Matt Barnes. I'm with you. So I picked him up in one league, and in most of my leagues he's already been snatched up. But then when you look at like certain other leagues, it looks like he's still available in a lot of them. So if he's available in your league, I think you got to pounce on it right now. And like you said, if it's only just to ride out the hot streak, then maybe just do that.
Yeah, he's only owned in 22% of ESPN leagues. So I think
that's crazy.
Someone's got to go for him. Someone's got to go for him now.
Next up, my man, let's talk some Philly, some D-League basketball. It's just it's hard to talk Philly, but they made I guess some news, right? They hired Mike D'Antoni, who is known for his offensive genius. Not many people get that tag, and because they've hired Mike D'Antoni, does that make someone like Kendall Marshall intriguing to you? Remember when D'Antoni was coaching the Lakers and they were just horrible. They were so bad. Then again, they were better than they are now, so maybe they weren't that bad. But one of the players who did really well for him was Kendall Marshall. And again, if you're a point guard playing under Mike D'Antoni, you're basically going to put up fantasy numbers. I guess the question is minutes here, but like, what are your thoughts on Kendall Marshall? Are you ready to kind of pick him up? Do you want to do a wait and see approach? What are your thoughts?
Kendall Marshall is a really interesting guy to me for one reason and one reason only. Okay? He's playing 17 minutes a game so far this season. You want to guess how many assists he's averaging per game, Daniel?
In 17 minutes?
In 17 minutes.
6.
Yeah, you were a little high. 4.5. He's getting 4.5 assists in 17 minutes. He averaged in that season you were talking about with the Lakers when D'Antoni was the coach, he averaged 8.8 assists a game in 29 minutes. So I think if you're in a league where you need assists, and you know how hard assists are to find on the waiver wire, I think that Kendall Marshall is a guy worth picking up just to hope that he gets the 25 to 30 minutes and he can get you a stack of assists.
But I mean, but do you think that he's going to get those minutes? I mean, again, because I mean, like, who does Philly has? Cannonball, McConnell, who they're playing right now. Your boy Tony Roten, who they always give minutes to, and who's a usage just machine. So I mean, like, will Kendall Marshall actually get enough minutes to become fantasy relevant? And like, I think as me and you were talking pre-show, I think when they that was the plan, right? To play once he's healthy to play him. So.
Yeah, they gave this out. I actually heard this the other day when I was watching the pregame show, and they basically said that the whole reason that they hired Jerry Colangelo was that they were doing so bad. And Sam Hinkie had a quote saying that he thought when they signed Kendall Marshall that he would be ready to play at the start of the season, and they thought that if they had a point guard who could actually run their offense, that they wouldn't be near as bad as they are right now. So I think that their plan is to give Kendall Marshall all the minutes he can handle once he finally gets healthy.
Like, I'm praying right now. No, you guys can't see me, but I'm praying because I hope that's right. I would love to see, the other issue I still have, though, even if Marshall gets those assists, to get assists, you need someone to score the ball. And Philly's they don't have the best scorers in the world. So, I mean, the number that you gave us was interesting, that he still was able to get like 4.5 assists in those limited minutes. But I guess who's he going to get assists to? I guess Okafor and Covington. I mean, it's not the easiest team to get assists to, but I'm with you. I even have one league where I have I'm positioned nicely in the standings, but I just need assists. So I basically picked up Kendall Marshall, and like I can wait it out for a couple weeks to see what happens because again, it's me and you were talking pre-show. This is a guy capable of getting you 8 to 10 assists, and that's enough to help you like win your league. There's not many guys available like that on the waiver wire.
Yeah, and I feel like something that a lot of people miss too is like they say, oh, well, he's not going to get the assist because the team's so bad. That Lakers team he played on in 13-14, like once Kobe went down and he was getting a lot of the assists, was not a good team.
Right, but the difference there is they were still okay offensively. They just didn't play defense. So, so they would still score the ball, but it was just a layup line on defense for opposing teams.
I feel like Philly is going to like the kind of the same way though. Like, I mean, if you look at a lot of their game logs, like they get decent points. It's just, they give up so many. I mean, they lost 106-27 to Atlanta this week. They lost 107-97 to New York. It's like, now they do have the occasional game where they get blown out and only score 60 like they did against the Spurs, but I feel like they do a decent amount of scoring even if it's in garbage time.
Yeah, I guess I haven't paid much attention to how many points that they were putting up. Well, and then also getting D'Antoni. I mean, hopefully, that will influence the offense they're running. Right now, I don't even know what kind of offense they are running. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully that the offense production will go up, which will increase Marshall's value. So, like, I'm with you. Like, I think the potential is obviously there. I added him in one league already. Like, if you add him right now, I think you're taking, obviously you're taking a risk. But the upside's there. So more Philly news. It's always good to talk Philly basketball on the show. All right, why don't we move on to some of the scheduling this week, as we got to set our lineups for Week 9. So we got to look at teams that only play 2 games. There's only 3 of those teams this week: Golden State, Toronto, Milwaukee. Are there any guys from those teams that we want to start? I guess Curry. We can throw Curry out. Let's still play Curry. If you're in a weekly lineup lock league. Is that right? A weekly lineup lock? I don't know what the hell you call it. You know what I mean?
That's what you call it, yeah.
So obviously you still want to play Steph, but besides Curry, what else do you want to do with these guys, these teams?
If you head over to the dailyfantasybasketballpodcast.com, you can check out Mark's Week 9 rankings. He posts them for everyone before he got into his homeland. Okay? So he's got the list of 2-game guys. He's recommending there's only 5 players you start in a standard league. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 5 players you start in a standard league: Steph Curry, Kyle Lowry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Greg Monroe. I kind of agree with him. The only other 2 guys that maybe starts would be DeMar DeRozan and Giannis. I think you probably sit Giannis now because you don't even know if he's going to play in those 2 games. I mean, he sat out tonight. Maybe they just give him a week to rest since they only play 2 games. So I think DeMar DeRozan is really the only guy. Are you starting DeMar DeRozan this week?
I mean, he's such a one-trick pony, man. All he does is score. But I actually would start him. Like the last few weeks he's played really well, and he's been actually filling up the stat sheet. I actually did. Oh, we can get to that later in the show. I did a no halftime challenge with DeMar DeRozan, and I thought I was going to dominate. I had DeMarcus Cousins against DeMar DeRozan, and I lost. Can you believe that for today? So anyway, that should tell you. Based on that alone, I am going to play DeMar DeRozan this week. But but again, he's on the fence. The other guy who intrigues me more is Greg Monroe. I mean, I need to check out who Milwaukee's playing. Are there any strip club joints in those cities? Like, are they in LA this week again? Who are they playing? Who are the Bucks playing? You do a more deep analysis on the Bucks.
1 second, I'll get you. The Bucks are playing. Let's see here.
Like, if they're in Utah, then Greg Monroe, give it a go. I mean, he can't go out and party there.
The Bucks are playing Philly and Toronto.
Interesting.
They play Philly on Wednesday and they play Toronto on Saturday.
Toronto's a fun city, man. No, so no. Kidding aside, I mean, I guess I'd play Monroe too. It sucks when you have these teams that only play 2 games a week. But I guess I would play Monroe and DeRozan. Again, like DeRozan gives you. I mean, he really is mostly scoring dependent player, but he can do other things. And recently, he's been a pleasant surprise in terms of getting you rebounds, getting you a few assists. So I'd still roll him out too. But I'm with you. I would not play Giannis this week, especially with the knee issue, his knee tendonitis he has right now.
Yeah, and they don't play, like I said, they don't play until Wednesday. So you're not going to get any information before you have to set your lineup. So I'm thinking you just sit him this week, play it safe. It's only 2 games. You're not going to get that much from him even in the 2 games. So I'm thinking he's a definite sit for me this week.
Yeah, I'm with you. Moving on, let's next talk about – so this is an interesting week because there's only 2 times where there's no NBA games. One is Thanksgiving Day, and the other is Christmas Eve. So this is the week of the holidays of Christmas. I think it's on Friday this week. So there's no games on Thursday. There's actually – so if you look at the week, there's 9 games Monday, 4 games Tuesday, 13 games Wednesday. Again, none on Thursday, 5 on Christmas, 13, again, a big monster slate Saturday, and then 4 games on Sunday to end the week. So it's a weird scheduling, week. You have those 2 days where there's, again, 13 games. Did you notice anything interesting from this wacky week of holiday basketball?
So the first interesting thing I noticed is there's no back-to-backs on Monday and Tuesday. So that's
really rare, right?
So that is that's bad if you want to try to, save your matchups. You're going to have to pick up a guy on Monday. You're going to have to pick up a guy on Tuesday. There are some back-to-backs on Tuesday and Wednesday. The other big schedule takeaway I got is for quality games, there's only 3 teams that play 2 or more quality games this week. They're Denver, Miami, and Memphis, and they all each only play 2 quality games. So if you're looking for guys to pick up you'll definitely be able to fit in your lineup in a head-to-head league this week when you pick them up. The 4 guys I got are Jameer Nelson, Gary Harris, Matt Barnes, and Mario Chalmers. And they're all owned in less than 50% of ESPN leagues.
Chalmers is an interesting guy. Like,
I
do you
feel
think?
like
Go ahead.
I feel like Mario Chalmers like gets underrated when like from what he's been doing, just because like he had the bad stigma in Miami that he was not really very good for fantasy. But I feel like this year he's been doing pretty all right.
And he was actually pretty solid last year. I owned him in a league, and again, like people are so used to just like especially like when LeBron was there, and even like D Wade, like Mario would always be like the fall guy, and you'd always see like memes or gifs of him getting yelled at. But he actually put up like decent fantasy value, and he does a lot of things. Like his shooting percentage isn't that great, but he'll get you threes. He can score a little bit, get you some assists, and he can get you some really good steals as well. So Chalmers is intriguing, especially if he can get some consistent minutes for Memphis.
Yeah, and I feel like he's a good pickup too, because like you can pick him up on Monday or on Tuesday and Wednesday they play a back-to-back. Then obviously nobody plays on Thursday. Then you got the Christmas Day slate, and then they play another back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday. So they play 2 back-to-backs this week. So usually that means a lot of times that in the second of a back-to-back, the bench guys get a few more minutes too. So he might even get a little bit of a minutes boost this week.
All right, let me ask you this question. So I'm looking at the Week 9 rankings in a daily fantasy basketball podcast.com, and currently Will Barton is third, and Gary Harris for shooting guard. Sorry, Will Barton is the third-ranked shooting guard, and Gary Harris is the 10th-ranked shooting guard. So would you rather have Barton this week than Gary Harris? Even though, because again, Gary Harris, when healthy, does start for Denver.
Well, they're both playing the 2 quality games, so I mean that's kind of a wash. I feel like Barton is a good guy for fantasy just because on any given day he can get you a large amount of any category. Like he fills the stat sheet. I mean, he's had some crazy games this year where he's gotten a lot of, I don't know if you want to call them unexpected stats, but like just stats in different areas. So, I mean, if I'm doing a 1-game streaming, I think Barton has like a lot of upside to just kind of fill the stat sheet up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm actually like a Barton fan, but I know like Mark is not. And like Mark like just unloaded on me for like 15 minutes during a podcast, like railing on Barton.
And I feel like Barton may not be the best like real life basketball player. Like he in the same way Tony Roten does sometimes. Like he does some stuff on the court that you're like, why would you do that? But like for fantasy, he's great. I mean, he's averaging almost 6 rebounds, 2 assists, over 1.2 steals, almost 15 points a game this year, shooting 45%, averaging 1.4 threes. I mean, I feel like for his fantasy, like he's good.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. And like I use him a lot for DFS. Now, in DFS, his price on most sites is always a little bit too high for me. But I'm with you. I think he does have fantasy value. And like every week I look at the rankings, and Will Barton's always very high for shooting guards. And then I always send Mark a tweet. I'm like, look at your boy, Will Barton, who you railed on for 15 minutes on a podcast. So, I mean, it goes Harden, Butler, Barton. That's pretty good.
I think Mark secretly likes him. He's ranked 3rd in his rankings. Mark secretly likes him. He just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to tell us.
Maybe, which brings up an interesting point that I know if we're going to get to on the show, but let's quickly discuss it. Klay Thompson proclaimed himself as the best shooting guard in the league. Do you agree with that assessment? And by the way, I hate Klay Thompson personally, but go ahead.
I feel like shooting guard is kind of a weak position now, so he might be right by default. Like, I mean, I don't really think James Harden is a shooting guard. Jimmy Butler may be better shooting guard than him. Right
if you between Butler and Klay, both for fantasy, who would you rather have, and in real life?
In fantasy, I actually had that decision in one league this year, and I picked Jimmy Butler. In real life,
was that in the draft? Were you drafting?
Yeah.
How high did you draft Jimmy Butler?
It was like the 14th pick, and they were both available, and I picked Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, because I had I think 12th or 13th, and I went freaking Klay. Even though Klay's been fine, especially as of late. But I'm just not a big fan of Klay, especially because he cheated on his girlfriend, who was Hannah Stocking. If you Google Hannah Stocking, you can very lovely lady, and he cheated on her. Again, I should say allegedly, and also like Klay just won't shut up these days. I don't know what got into him. He just like won't. He's like keeps he's like, after the Bucks beat Golden State the first time. Klay like went nuts, and he was saying how he can't wait for the rematch. And by the way, Milwaukee should have beat them again. Now he's saying he's the best 2 guard in the league. He's starting to annoy me.
I feel like Klay offers those 3-pointers that Klay gives you are just like they're really great for fantasy. So like, I mean, if you're looking for like a guy who can give you if you need a real big boost in 3-pointers, he's a guy that I would like try to acquire in a league. But like it's a guy that's like takes a very specific team build to build around, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, all right, let us move on. I guess let's talk a couple players that we can stream this week, if you want to go that route. I know I think you already hit on a couple. You gave us 3 or 4. Let's talk some other guys. I'm gonna give you some names and let me know if any of these guys stand out for you this week. One guy's actually really intriguing to me because, like, when you think fantasy, you really don't think of this guy. That's Amir Johnson. Also, Patrick Beverly, my boy Evan Turner, who's still getting run in Boston as long as Marcus Smart is out. You got Mark's obsession of Clint Capella. You got Kelly Olynyk. So, and I got to mention another guy. And Houston's front court is it's still not settled. I mean, Terrence Jones is still not getting consistent minutes. So he's another guy that you can possibly stream with this week. Any of those guys kind of stand out to you?
If I'm picking up one guy for this week with 4 games off this list here on Mark's Pickup and Stream tab, I'm going for Matt Barnes. He's the number 1 guy I'm picking up. Number 2 would probably
Can't use Barnes. That's cheating. We all know to get Barnes.
He's 22% owned, all right? No, apparently people need this drilled in their head. Number 2 guy I'm going for is Patrick Beverly.
Interesting.
I feel like Patrick Beverly just offers like some stats that it seems like nobody realizes are very valuable. Okay? Like, because he is good at like the defensive stats, which takes less to win anyways. I mean, like, he gives you those 1.3. He's averaging 1.3 steals a game this year. Like, in 4 games, that is a huge boost, and that can probably win you your week in steals.
I mean, Beverly's always been underrated, especially as a fantasy player. People think of him as a defensive specialist, but anytime if you're getting like over 30 minutes a game, you're gonna just fall into some stats. And he does, again, steals. You're right. He's great with steals, and he can hit an open 3-pointer, or 2 if Harden never passes the darn ball. He'll get you an occasional 3, 4, 5 assist game. So I'm with you, Beverly. He's sneaky and he's always underowned.
I feel like he averaged 2.1 threes last year and 1.7 he's averaging this year. I feel like that too. I mean, there's 2 categories basically. He can pretty much help you single-handedly win if you pick him up for a 4-game week.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if people still think for Houston that Ty Lawson is on that team, but he's really not. I mean, he's there, but I think he was suspended 2 games for his DUI the last couple of games. But he's really not getting any consistent minutes for that team, and they're trying to trade him, quite honestly. So
I feel like if Jason Terry is getting minutes over you at this stage of Jason Terry's career, you are not on the team anymore.
Which leads to a great question. All right, between Jason Terry, Tayshaun Prince, Richard Jefferson, of those 3, if you had to have one on your team, who would you have?
For fantasy or for real life basketball?
Let's do fantasy, I guess, because this is a fantasy show.
Okay, I was gonna say Tayshaun Prince for real life basketball because I feel like he might still be a decent defender.
Oh, he can't move. Have you seen him try to move?
According to Mark's defensive ratings he was telling me about, Tayshaun Prince is actually still a good defender.
I mean, I think that's Kevin Garnett. I'd be shocked if Tayshaun Prince is
Maybe I'm misremembering this, but I could have sworn he's told me this. If he was here and not watching Homeland, we'd know right now.
I mean, Homeland, it's just about over, by the way. There's 3 minutes left in Homeland. So this is the peak moments of the show. But
you should text him right now and ask him if Tayshaun Prince is a good defender. Just to interrupt his last 3 minutes.
I mean, well, first, I guess my first text would be does Tayshaun have a pulse? Is he even alive? I think if you I think on many podcasts ago now, we debated having who would be if you're having a foot race. Let's say it was a 100 yard dash you had. Who would be the slowest guys that you'd want to see in that competition? And I think we had Marc Gasol in there. Who else did we have?
I'd like to see Miles Turner in that when he gets healthy. You ever seen him run?
No, I have not. But I can imagine.
That's a good time.
Al Jefferson should be in that competition. But what I'm saying is I think that Tayshaun Prince.
If you set some fried chicken at the end of the race, Al Jefferson would win.
Oh, no doubt about that. But I think Tayshaun Prince should be in there as well. Honestly, all those guys. I don't know what it is about with why coaches are still playing these guys who are 70 years old, consistent minutes. Because, I mean, even like Richard Jefferson from Cleveland. Now, maybe with Kyrie back, he still won't be getting consistent run, but he was still getting minutes. He actually looked okay last when I saw Richard Jefferson play. But like Tayshaun, he's looked like an absolute mess to me.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like then again, he's still getting minutes. So these guys, the coaches must be smarter than me. You would hope they have more data than me available. So maybe he's doing something on the court right. So who knows? But all right, so let's move on. Let us go to a new section of the show I like to call Rest in Peace. Zebo is one of these players. If you have guys on your team, these players, Tyler, what should you do? And I will give you 4 of them. Joakim Noah, Alec Burks, Tristan Thompson, Chandler Parsons. Is it time that we bury these poor souls from our rosters? Or do we hold on and pray that something changes in the near future?
For Joakim Noah, I feel like I'm holding on just because, I mean, I feel like for a big man, he gives you some really interesting stats. I mean, the assists are huge for a big man. He's actually giving you some good rebounds. I mean, if you need points, that would be the only situation where you could think about dropping Joakim Noah. So he's the guy I would keep a hold of. Alec Burks, I would cut him. I mean, I feel like he's basically just a points guy, and he hasn't been scoring many points. So I don't think he's helping your team anywhere, is he?
No, I mean, it sucks. I was hoping, especially when Quinn Snyder started Burks in like 2 of the last 3 games for Utah, I thought he'd step it up, not only points, but I'll give you some other production and maybe some assists and rebounds, maybe a couple steals, but he really hasn't done it yet. And I know Mark is very anti on Alec Burks, and I guess I'm to the point too where like it's just not worth it to keep him. I still would, if I dropped him, keep an eye on him because, again, if Quinn's going to be starting Burks and giving him 30 minutes, I think he potentially could have some value. But, yeah, at this point, I don't think you can hold on to him. And I'm totally with you on Joakim Noah. As long as you don't need points, I think you got to keep him. He can give you like 4 to 5 assists a game. And for a center, that's just so extremely rare to get. So, Joakim Noah is a guy that I would keep.
Now, Chandler Parsons, this is the interesting guy, okay? He's only been getting 21.7 minutes a game so far this season.
How many games has he even played for Dallas?
He's played 20.
And how many has Dallas played?
Dallas has played, let's see here. Dallas has played 27.
Oh, so he's actually played more than I thought, but still. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
But I feel like, I've heard that in January they're supposed to start relaxing his minutes limits. Now, we'll see if that actually happens or not. I mean, he did play 32 minutes in the last game on Friday, so that's maybe a good sign of things to come. I feel like if you own him right now, you can't really trade him. So I would keep a hold of him and just hope that the minutes restrictions ease up here in the next few weeks and you can, start getting back some value of where you drafted him at. He was really good for fantasy the last couple of years. So, I think it's worth – if you've held on to him for this long, you might as well keep holding.
Yeah, I guess I agree with you. It's just been so frustrating to own that guy. But if you've waited this long, you might as well wait it out and see, like you said, if those minutes – that minute restrictions gets lifted. Because he's – when he actually plays, even if it's 24 minutes – I think he still is fantasy relevant. He can fill up the stat sheet and do a lot of good things on the court. So I would still hold and then see if those minutes, that minute restrictions can go up, and especially if he can start playing in back-to-backs. So, but it's just so frustrating to own that guy. But I guess I'm with you. But that leads me to something else, my man. Now, a little birdie told me. Well, actually, it wasn't a little birdie. It was you during the pre-show. But, you wrote a very interesting article for dailyfantasybasketballpodcast.com. I think you guys should check it out. Go to the website. It's got a lot of good stuff there. But I just want to give you an opportunity, Tyler, to let, for the listeners, is there anything that you want to kind of point out from the article that you think is really relevant?
I'm going to make people go read it, but I'm going to give a good spoiler here, okay? There is a player in the article, if you read it, there's a player who has not been performing to what everyone has been expecting him to perform, but I found some stats, and I think it's going to turn around. So go and check it out. And there's a perfect guy you can buy low on in your leagues and get yourself a nice value on.
Wait, can I mention the guy we discussed pre-show who's been balling the last month?
No, don't mention him. Let's make
Man,
people
I'm
go
telling
and
you, you
read.
guys need to go check out this article. There's a guy for the last month. His stats are just killer. Caught me off guard. I went and I tried to pick him up in a lot of leagues. He was actually available in more leagues than I thought. So you got to go check out this article. It really does have some useful information to help you with your fantasy leagues. So with that, we've mentioned a lot of players in the show. We've mentioned players who we want to use this week, right? Like Patrick Beverly, we mentioned. Guys who we think it's time for their fantasy lives to end, like Zach Randolph, which leads us to something, no halftime. Hopefully, if you're listening to the show, all you guys know what no halftime is. It's a one-on-one fantasy basketball app. You got to download the app. Use the promo code B-Ball when you download it. You get a free $25. And then you can put any two players together in a matchup head-to-head and win some good money. I'm trying off the top of my head, we could do – how about Joakim Noah versus Alec Burks? Tyler, does that interest you?
If I'm getting Joakim Noah, that interests me.
Really? I think even with I would actually take Burks. I would do that one with you.
All right, let's do it.
With Noah, because Noah's still only getting like 20 minutes a game. If Burks can start for Utah and get 30, I think that would actually be pretty close.
You do bring up a good point there, but I'm still taking Joe.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm writing that one down. That's a very interesting challenge. So again, though, you guys should use no halftime. Again, it's one-on-one, and it's not only for NBA. You can use. I think they even have like NASCAR racing or auto racing. They have obviously have NFL. A bunch of different sports. If you don't have the time to do research a full slate of DFS, like I try to do every day, which can take 4 to 5, 6 hours depending on the slate. You can spend 10, 15 minutes, maybe not even that. Just look at a slate of games and pick a couple players you like for that night and win some money. It's really cool stuff. I'm going to take Tyler's money right here. Use Alec Burks versus Joakim Noah. I've been crushing Mark all year. So let's do one more, though. So what do you think? We got this actually one that really intrigues me, and I'll let you take either one. Kyrie coming back now off the injury, or Clay, the best shooting guard in the NBA.
For now, I'm taking Clay. In a couple weeks, when Kyrie gets back to his minutes, I'm definitely taking him.
I will take Kyrie, even if it is this week, just out of my spite for Clay.
I am definitely taking your money now.
Yeah, I think I would lose that one. I'd be in trouble. But then again, if Clay has an off night shooting, maybe he wants to get back with Hannah. Who knows what's going on? I'm telling you, everyone needs to Google Hannah Stocking. So, all right, we got no halftime.
Use that promo code B-Ball, BBALL. Use it. 25
right.
free bucks. You can't beat that.
That brings us, sadly, Tyler, to the end of the show. Obviously, if you enjoy the podcast, first of all, I'm really mad Mark didn't jump on with us. So next show, maybe we can kind of find out, one, what happened in Homeland, and two, where Mark disappeared to after the show. So, but again, if you enjoy the podcast, please, rate, review, and subscribe. It would mean a lot to us. Also, Tyler, you want to plug anything? Where can we find you in the social media universe?
All right, you can find me on Twitter at Watsy4444, and that's Watts like electricity with a Y and then 4 4s.
Very nice. You can find me at Daniel A. Green 1 on Twitter. You can also go to my website, dgcourtroomdfs.com. If you want to talk some DFS and rest your mind for seasonal for a couple of minutes. And lastly, let us discuss movies, because normally if I'm on the show, Mark would not let me discuss movies, but Mark is gone. We will have a final encore discussing movies, Tyler. Give me I'll give you an option. You can either tell me your favorite movie of all time or the last movie you saw either in theaters or on demand.
All right, the last movie I saw on demand is probably my favorite movie of all time. I've probably seen it like a million times. It was The Shawshank Redemption. I love that movie.
Dude, that is like one of my top 3 favorite movies. Wait, so you watched that on demand recently?
Yeah.
Like you paid for it?
No, I get the Comcast cable here, and you get like all those like 9 million movies on demand that are like free. It was on there, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch this.
Yeah, that is a fantastic movie. Like, yeah, I mean that's like me. My favorite 2 are Braveheart and then Shawshank for sure. So I'm with you.
Two great movies right there.
So the last movie though that I saw on demand was the last Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise.
Which one is this now? Like, how many have there been?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's 4. Maybe it's 4, but it's still like really good. I mean, I wouldn't call it like, an excellent movie, but it's definitely worth watching. I highly recommend it. I give it 3.5 basketballs out of 4. That's my new ranking system that I just thought of on the, spontaneously on.
Was it Rogue Nation?
I think so. I have no idea what this.
That's the 5th one.
Oh, so there's been 5?
Yeah, this one just got released in July 2015.
Okay, yeah. Then it was. Yeah, I guess it was that. But it was really good, man. So I'm telling you, go watch Mission Impossible. Maybe. How cool would that be if Mission Impossible sponsors the show, sponsors the podcast?
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't it?
Free promo right here. We just gave it to them.
Yeah,
now hopefully they'll sponsor.
We get like a screening of Mission Impossible for us and all the viewers, all the listeners, I should say. That would be fantastic.
That would be awesome.
All right, my man. We should now end the show. So again, if you could rate, review, and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. Otherwise, guys, good luck in your fantasy games this week. I hope you dominate, and we will see you later. Bye, guys.